Welcome back, everyone. It is Wednesday, the 11th of June, 2025, and you've got me and Danny all to yourselves this evening. Good evening, everyone. Hope you are all well. It's been a very, very warm week out here in Spain. I've got to admit, Danny, I've been struggling a little bit with this weather.
Yeah, mate, it's been a bit warm, isn't it, to be fair?
God, just a bit, Danny, just a bit. I've been looking in the car and it's like...
This is your first year here, isn't it, mate? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've been looking in the car, over 100 degrees in Old Money, of course, but I said to my daughter, it's over 100 degrees today. She said, what's that? I said, English.
Now, I'm going to have to apologise because I'm going to have to look at two live streams today. One of them's my live stream because we're live on Danny in Spain, and then we're also live on Paul's channel as well. So, good evening, everyone.
So, if anyone hasn't subscribed to Danny in Spain, please make sure that you do so. But right now, if you are watching on Danny's channel, drop it out, come over to my channel and watch.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna benefit from this, mate, because I've got a lot more subscribers than me. So don't subscribe to Paul's channel. Well, don't watch on Paul's channel. Come over to Danny in Spain.
That's funny, mate. That's funny.
Good
evening, everyone.
On my channel. Let's see if we'll have a competition.
Lovely to see you all. Thanks, everyone, for joining us tonight. It's going to be an interesting one tonight. I actually asked Richard if he wanted to come on this evening, but Richard has been a very, very, very busy boy. There's been a lot going on out there in Ireland, of course, Northern Ireland.
It really has.
It really has. Obviously, I respect the fact that Danny's position is that he doesn't really want to touch the politics side of things, and I totally understand and get that. I will cover that with Richard on another show. Richard wanted to come on, but I think he's just worn out, to be fair.
Yeah, he looked a bit tired.
There you go.
I see a couple of his videos. Mate. He looked.
There's your answer, mate. Back very soon. Back very soon. Lady Cat Blue, good evening. Got me good old cup of rosy here. Now, what we're doing is we're going to be taking your questions for Danny or myself. So nothing is out the rules. As long as it's decent, Danny and I will try and answer your questions. And to get those started, I think Danny's got a few questions for me, and I've got a few questions for Danny. Good evening, Diane. Good evening, Sue. Good evening, Angelina. I like that name, Angelina. What a nice name. Shoaib is in the chat. Good evening, mate. Paul the Destroyer is back. Danny, hope you're well and ready. There you go, Danny. Let's see. I think the odds are stacking against you, mate. Evening, Kate. Lovely to see you all in the chat. So, Danny, where are we going to start? I mean, I've got 5 questions for you. I think you've got...
I'm dreading them ones, mate. I haven't got a clue what they are.
Well, I'm going to be honest with the audience. You were kind enough to send me mine in advance.
Yeah.
And when you asked me, I said, no, I'm going to surprise you.
Send the questions back just so that we can prepare ourselves, because I don't want to be like sidetracked. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I sent them over to Paul earlier today. I said, there you go. There's your questions so you can revise your answers. And then he said, okay, I'll think of some for you. I went, okay. He said, nah, I'm going to surprise you with mine. So he ain't told me at all. Absolutely.
There you go. He's got
deal with him, mate.
Patrick says Paul Foreman versus Danny Ali update. Well, actually, Patrick, I've got a little update for you, and I'll tell you what it is. You're not far wrong there with the names Paul Foreman versus Danny Ali. Now, I've come up with Danny Salmonella for Danny, and Paul Foreskin for me.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Why not? Why not? Evening, Claire. So, Danny, who's going to go first? I'm looking forward more to the viewers' questions, to be honest with you.
Put us a few in. Put us a few in.
Look at this one. Look, well. Shaw says, I'm looking like a beetroot. Do you know what? I am very, very... Actually, I'm not as red as I look. I think it's the lighting, but I'm getting quite dark at the moment.
Yeah, we're going to be a battle of the suntans now, isn't it? Because we're both in Spain, of course.
Absolutely. Oh, I've got something quite exciting to show you, Danny. Can you hold the fort for a minute?
Yeah, go on, mate.
Just hold the fort, Danny.
Yes,
1 sec.
yeah,
I'll
no
only be a
problem.
minute. Go on,
that's
Danny. I'll
right.
leave.
Take your
Never
time,
involve kids, animals, or Danny's, they say. So go on, Danny. Keep
I'm
the
going to
audience
completely
entertained.
destroy his channel now.
I'm going to bugger off for 20 minutes now. Look. Go on, Danny. Keep going,
Go on,
son.
mate.
Go on.
I've got it, Paul. Relax. I've done this before. Right. So when everyone's let's put up some really, really bad words and things like that. We'll get his channel taken down. I'm joking. So it's a bit difficult because I'm seeing Paul's chat not live and I'm seeing my chat live. So any questions that you've got for Paul, keep them half sensible because we can't obviously read them out. Put them in and I will try and scroll back and get them. So he's going to ask me 5 questions and I'm going to ask him 5 questions, which I think a few people might want to know. So let's see what he comes up with. Right, what you
I'm back. I'm back. Danny, when I left, I had 1,200 people watching. I've only got 500 now.
You've only got 5 subscribers left, mate.
Yeah, it's looking bad. 825 people, 830 people watching on my channel, Danny. I don't know how many's watching on yours, but
I've got 139, mate.
Very good indeed. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Right, guys, I want to show you something today. Right, this is a little bit of irony involved here. Now, as you all know, I'm a recent arrival in Spain, and we brought our animals with us. Very expensive that was, a very expensive little project, I must say, 4 of them, 2 dogs, 2 cats. And we are now, or they are now, the proud owners of EU passports. EU passports.
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 EU passports. A bit disappointed they're not British passports. Well, here's the thing, Danny. What I'm going to do next week, I'm going to put the buggers on a boat. I'm going to get them to chuck these off the... now, this is the ironic thing. If I want to take the dogs home, I can't get them into the country without these. Right?
I know where you're going.
I cannot get them in... I can't get them into the country without these. So I'm going to stick the buggers on a boat. I'm going to get them to chuck them off the boat on the way home.
Yeah,
and see what they get when they get to England. Unbelievable. But I tell you, you don't want to know how expensive they were, Danny. All the bits and pieces, the insurance, and what else was it?
Transport.
You got to go. Yeah, you got to go to the town hall, register them. Then you got to register. We've had to register the Rottweiler with the local gendarmerie or whatever they're called. And it's not the gendarmerie, is it? That's France. But hassle, but worth it.
Cheers,
because they're all now
I've just switched over to you, Danny. Much better channel.
Yeah, cheers, Lee. Thanks, mate. Right, let's have a little look. What have we got here in the chat? Any questions tonight? There you go, Neil. Likes on both. Thank you very much, Neil. Of course,
thanks,
if you're,
what
you could do is you could get it up on both your phone and your computer. Right, Danny, who's going first, me or you?
Go on. I'll hit you with a question first. Go on.
Go on in.
As it's you and you're getting on, you might need the loo or whatever. Right. You've been in Spain about 7 weeks now. What do you miss, if anything, about the UK?
Right, okay, I've had a little chance to think about that, but I weren't quite sure myself yet because I don't think I've been here long enough. But obviously the family that I've left back in England, but I mean, we won't count them because they're loved ones. But what do I miss? I miss the local cafe in Peacehaven.
Right.
I must admit, I miss the local cafe. I'm struggling to be fair. Not a lot, Danny, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
I suppose just being around what I'll class as my own people. But here in Benidorm, you're around your own people most of the time anyway. So yeah, but in all honesty, Danny, not a lot to be fair.
Okay, yeah, that's the sort of answer I was expecting. Do you want me to do all 5, or do you want to shoot one?
No. we'll do them alternate, right? We'll do them
on then.
alternate, and then what we'll do is
I'm not ready for any of this. So God knows.
Yeah, what we'll
he's
do
put
is,
there.
Danny, when the questions start coming in, then we'll start picking up the audience's questions. So my first one is, what would your biggest piece of advice be to any aspiring businessman or woman?
Try and keep.
So someone.
do you know what I'm doing? Going to do this quite quickly and quite well, right? Try and
Go on
keep
then.
your overheads to an absolute minimum to start with. Try and take as little out of the company as you possibly can to start with to build up your business cash flow. There's a couple of little tips that I would just say. If you're starting something up, obviously do your research before you do. Make sure that there's a demand for your business. Make sure that there's a demand for whatever you're selling. Try and be as, when you're starting a business up, as stingy as possible. That's just how it has to be. Don't take as much, if you have a good week, try and leave it. If you only need 300 quid to live that week and you've earned 1,000, try and leave the 700 quid in the bank and don't take it. And be prepared to put in 24 hours a day for the first few years. There you go.
That stingy bit, Danny, you've carried that on throughout your life, haven't you? You're still a stingy git now, so. Can I chuck a couple in there, Dan? Can I chuck a couple in?
Yeah, go on in.
Couple of interesting ones. I think the first thing is integrity. You got to keep your integrity always, right? The second thing is just a little tip, really, that I learned when I was younger. Always try and go for something with the lowest risk and the highest reward.
Yeah.
And there's a very fine balancing act when you think about low risk, high reward, because usually with high reward comes high risk. And the lower the risk, usually the lower the reward. So try and think of something where the risk is still quite low, but the reward is a little bit higher than usual. But that's that one. So what's your second question for me? I'm sure we got some coming in from the audience as well.
Just want to check you can all hear me, because I've just been told on my channel that my mic's a bit low. Is that any better?
I can hear you fine, Danny.
Okay. All right. Just someone's, in fact, it was Ian Nicholson that said.
Unfortunately, yeah, but Ian's cracking on a bit, mate. He's probably a bit mutton, than he.
To be fair, he needs to go down into the old doctors and get the old syringe. You know what I mean? Yeah, sorry. Ian.
Evening, Morecambe Wise, the moderator.
He ain't going to be modding with us anymore. Right, number 2. Are you settling into Spanish life? Have you now found your own place to live? And if so, have you settled in now?
Yep, settled in, found somewhere to live. How am I coping with Spanish lifestyle? Probably not too well, Danny. I'm sleeping a lot, far more than I imagined. The heat really is quite intense. Today I turned to my wife and I said, now I understand why they have a siesta.
Yeah.
And I've actually started to go back to bed. I've started to have a nap about 3-4 o'clock.
Okay.
For a couple of hours,
do you know what?
And then I'm ready to go.
It's a bit of a misconception, I've been told, Paul. They don't actually sleep when they go home in the afternoon. They eat.
No.
I've only just found that out.
Yeah.
A lot of it, that's prehistoric. Like years ago, they used to do that, but not anymore. Apparently so.
Yeah, no, I found myself nodding off in some rather embarrassing places. I had my hair cut today and fell asleep in the barber's chair. Things like that. We was out at dinner the other night, and out at dinner, we was having something to eat outside a sort of cafe, bar, restaurant.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when you nod off and you go like that, and you wake up, and my wife, she burst out laughing because I'd nodded off, and all of a sudden I've gone like that. I mean, when you make that snorting noise. Yeah, it might just be an age thing, Danny, but I'm putting it down to the eat anyway. But there you go. Settling in well, mate. Okay, so this is a bit random, this one, but I find this sort of question interesting. If you could be an invisible, no, it's not about football. It's not about football, mate. Right? Because I know you won't be able to answer it.
No.
If you could be an invisible witness to any event in history, what would that event be and why?
God.
So if you could be a silent witness, it's a silent, invisible witness to any event in history, what would that be? And guys, you guys out there watching, you can pop yours in the chat as well, because I'll read them tomorrow and I'll be interested to see what you guys...
Do you know what, Paul? I'm going to have to think about that. That's a real, we're going back in history here. I'll tell you what it would be. I'll tell you what it would be. There you go. Neil Armstrong's arrival on the moon as he put the first foot on the moon.
So you'd be on the moon as a silent witness, and you'd...
Yeah, I'm not really there though, am I, as such, if you like?
Well, yeah, you are. You're a silent witness. Yeah, you're there, yeah.
All right, then I'll have to be on the spaceship and watch.
Well, you wouldn't be the first. You wouldn't be the first. Yeah. He wouldn't be the first man on the moon, then, would he?
So that would have changed history, which would be even better because my name would be in the history books. No, but all right, I'd like to be on the space, the shuttle
on the
that
space
went down when he stepped onto the moon. There you go. That's what I'd like to have witnessed in history.
I was going to say, Danny, of all the events in history, of all the billions of things that have taken place, of all the excitement, England winning the World Cup, VE Day, I mean, like, the Battle of Waterloo, for all the things, and Danny wants to watch a geezer jump off a spaceship. What? God, dear Lord. Go on, mate. Your turn.
He's there. Look, he's there. That's his signature. Just there, Paul. Just there.
Where's that? Is it?
Neil Armstrong. Yeah, funny enough, it's on that white photograph. Yeah.
That's not a sales pitch, Danny, is it? You're not trying to get rid of that, are you?
On eBay. No,
there we go.
Right. Number 3. You've had lots of troll YouTube pages that are continuously using your name, sometimes not in a positive way. Does that bother you? Do you want to address those people here with a message? And I think a lot of people are going to know the sort of people I'm talking about. I'm going to be honest.
The answer to that, Danny, is no. You know it's no, because I've told you before it's no. And the thing is, the bottom line is this, right? Is that I don't mind people making money. I mean, look, if people make money talking about me, that's fine. I've got no problem with it. The only thing that I would say is that where I come from, you don't talk about people like that. You don't tell-tale. You don't say those things about other people because it's just not right. It's wrong. So does it bother me? No. If someone can make a bit of money using my name in their thumbnails and all that, I don't mind. Good luck to them, But when it comes to out and out lies, which 99.9% of it is, that's not the way I was brought up, mate.
No, I agree, mate. Yeah, no, that's not.
I'm old school. I'm an old school person, Danny. If I can't say anything good about someone, I'd rather not say anything at all, unless it's really, really urgent.
Yeah, like I say, a lot of it's positive. A lot of it is positive, but you've got the negative ones, some that just won't let things go, that are totally inaccurate. Everything they're saying couldn't be further from what's the reality of what's going on, So they're misinforming the people that do actually watch them.
Look, Danny, I do, don't I? I mean, the thing is, Danny, I've done a barbecue earlier and I think I must have barbecued myself. No, to be honest with you, mate, I think the vast majority of people that watch this channel, the vast majority of people that know me, they know me. I mean, one thing I will touch on. This gentleman that you're obviously talking about the other night mentioned people in the lanes, jewellery shops in the lanes and all that, and that's not right for me because I almost certainly know the people that he's talking about. I've probably done business with them. Maybe he should give them a ring and speak to them if they know me and ask them what sort of businessman I've been, what my reputation is around the lanes, because I've never knocked anyone in my life. I've only ever done a fair day's work in my life. But you don't talk about other people's businesses because people start targeting those businesses as well. So, like I said, for me, silence is golden where that sort of thing's concerned. I'm old school. I don't want to be talking about other people and trying to ruin other people's lives. Let them get on with it.
I've just got a super chat up, Paul, which I'm going to have to mention. I can't obviously.
I can't put it up, Danny. So you.
No. I'll just read it out. It's from Jackie Lee. Dan Paul said he's going to give you a good hiding. Why are you chatting to him? You love each other, really?
See, I
Oh, you
can,
can
I
put it
can
up.
get it up. I can.
Oh,
I
maybe
think,
that's your super chat. Maybe that ain't mine.
Danny. I think it's mine, mate.
Oh, well, fair
Thank
enough.
you, Jackie.
At least
Right,
it's on
I'll
there.
read it out, shall I? Dan, Paul said he's going to give you a good idea. Why you chat to him, you love each other, really. Well, I'll tell you what, Jackie, we do love each other, really. And me and Danny will be doing a bit of a sparring session. It's just a matter of getting together because, he's about an hour and a half, maybe a couple of hours away from me. And look, I've been in serious training. I've cut down from 40 fags a day to 20. I'm only eating Greg's twice a week. No, but we will be getting in the ring together. But, look, Danny's going to, in the old days, they used to say Danny won't be taking any liberties with me.
No,
because he's
exactly that.
He's a big boy, and I'm a big boy, but only round the waist.
Ain't we all getting that, mate? Ain't we all?
Yeah, obviously, Danny has sparred with people like Frank Bruno in his lifetime. I wasn't any good as a boxer when I was in my 20s, so I've probably not improved, to be fair. I would say that's what do they say? A good big un always beats a bad little un.
Well, that's what they say. It did happen with Ben and Eubank, didn't it, recently?
Exactly. Right, I think it's your turn, Danny.
Mate.
Yeah. What do you own? What do you own, Danny, that money could not buy? What do you own that money could not buy? That stumped you, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know what? I should have definitely read your questions beforehand because I could have had a good.
Well, that's why I never give them to you, Danny.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Don't worry, Danny. Don't take it. We're live, so there's only a couple of thousand people watching, so no pressure.
Just waiting for my brain to kick into gear.
Yeah,
we've got a super chat from Cy Harris. I don't know whether you can see that one, mate.
That one, we've got one from Neil as well. Hi, Paul and Danny, you've done the right thing. P.S. Paul, loved the Duquet. Thank you very much, Neil. Really appreciate that. I've got to be honest with you, Neil. I'm actually enjoying the push by more. AJ Audits, the loser has to wear a mankini on the next live. Oh dear. Talking about a mankini. Talking about a mankini before, if you want to think about your answer to that question, Danny, pull the choke out and have a think. We was in Benidorm today, me and my wife, and there was a fellow walking around with a mankini on. He had the spottiest bum I've ever seen in my life, and it was probably the most horrendous sight that I've seen in Benidorm since I've been here. It was so bad that when I come home, I couldn't eat me smoked salmon. There you go. It was all pink and spotty. I've told you. Danny, I'm in training.
You'll need to. Right, my answer to that question, I would say I've got my mum and my dad's wedding ring. My mum passed away a few years ago. I've got my dad's wedding ring, which was originally lost in the garden when my grandfather that gave it to him was digging up a load of carrots. So they were digging it up. Now, this is a true story. Obviously, the ring was too big for him. It obviously fell off and went into the earth somewhere in the allotment where they were digging up. End of it. We didn't have metal detectors in them days. And 7 years later, it come up around the carrot. That's a true story.
Angelina says, I'm named after a Bob Dylan song. Really like that. There was a question, when is the next Tommy event? That is the 13th of September. Thank you very much, Laura. Hello, Paul and Danny. Hope you are both well. Well, I'm certainly well at the moment. I'm not sure I'll be feeling so well after I've got into the ring with Danny, but there you go. Get the carrot on. Adam Bryant, evening lads. Hope you're well. We are well. I'll tell you what, Danny, in all seriousness, when we actually duck underneath the ropes and you're standing in front of me, you're about, what, 6? What are you, about 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah, in between that, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, 6'4". I don't know. You're a big lad.
No, I'm about 6'3", 6'2 and a half, 6'3".
And what do you weigh?
About 100 kilos at the moment.
Well, what's that in English, Danny? Stone. What's that?
225 pounds. got to be about, do you know, I don't even know, 15.8, something like 16, no, 15 and a half stone.
Okay. Yeah, so you're about a stone heavier than me. You're about 4 inches taller than me. And about 12 years younger than me, maybe a bit more.
We're going to get the excuses now, everyone, just so that you can hear that clear. I've gone closer to the speaker.
I'd say the tail of the tape is looking a little bit,
dismal.
Carol, you're a true gent, Danny. Roger's got a question for you. I've got a question for Danny. What is the capital gains tax situation like in Spain for things like BTC?
Well, I don't know at the moment because I am paying as I understand it, I've spoken to my accountant, I'm paying, because it's through a company, I'm paying my capital gains tax on the crypto in the UK. Obviously, that's only payable when you draw it down.
Is that technical language for tax avoidance, Danny?
No, I think I'll end up paying more. That's the worrying thing. I'm actually going to end up paying more this way, I think. But as I say, until you draw it, it doesn't make any difference. So mine is a long-term thing. But yeah, as far as I understand it. So I've not faced that situation yet because I haven't had to draw it. So I don't know.
I'm in the middle of that.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of dealing with some tax, and it's the whole thing's a bit of a yeah.
Accountants should just talk. Give your English accountant your Spanish accountant's number and just let them talk.
Yeah. Shoaib's turned out to be a traitor. He's watching on Danny's channel now. He's had a swap over.
You know quality when you see it. That's all I'm going to say.
Right, who's next, Danny? Whose question is it? Your turn or my turn? Yours, isn't it? It's your turn.
Yeah, it's my turn, isn't it? We are going to get to some of the chat in a minute. Do you want to read out Si Harris's? Well, I'll read it quickly. Evening, gents. Have you got over the shock of finding a starmer in your outhouse?
Outhouse. How does he know about that, Danny?
What, the snake thing? Size a snake person. He sent me pictures earlier of them all wrapped around it.
Okay.
One of them was apparently 9 stone or something. So it made what I saw yesterday. I put a little video up earlier, Paul. Thanks for watching. And saying about the snake that I see yesterday. Absolutely shook really did. Really. Do
you know what, Danny? I don't get notifications off you. Seriously, I don't know why.
You've got to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification.
I am subscribed. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I missed that one. Sorry about that. So I thank you very much, mate.
Can you ever see yourself moving back to the UK and leaving Spain, or do you think, like I do, that Spain is now your forever home?
No. In a word, I do intend to go home.
Don't see yourself going back to the UK?
No, I do.
You do in the future?
Yeah, one day I will, Danny. Yeah, I mean, home is home.
I'm not talking about visiting, I'm talking about moving back there permanently.
Yeah, when this lot is gone, when the fight back can really begin. And I don't consider that until this lot are gone, the fight back can begin.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get overly political now, but at the moment you're fighting a system that you just cannot beat. We need to get rid of this. Yeah, we need to get rid of this government by proper, legal, democratic means. We need them voted out and gone forever. And this must be a lesson that this is what happens when you vote for a hard left socialist government. All you do is attract people that will come to the country and offer nothing, and lose people like myself and Danny that have given everything, that want to give everything, that want to pay our taxes, have paid our taxes. It must serve as a lesson, because thousands of people are leaving the UK every month. Those people leaving the UK are the people that we need to stay. But they're not going to stay and risk their livelihoods, their businesses. I've got at least 2 friends who are business people right now looking to get out of the UK because they don't trust this Labour government. Starmer wants their money. Rachel Reed wants their money, and they want their money to give it away to someone that doesn't deserve it. So they're going to leave. And you can't blame people for doing that. So I know that's a long answer to your question, Danny, but I look forward to the day that I can go home to my home. But that won't be until Labour have gone, for me. And the dangers that they bring are gone. And the dangers that they bring are their Starmer troopers, the police forces that I believe they're currently using for political reasons. Sorry, that's a long answer, but there you go.
No, you're right, mate.
The British Patriot, when's the Paul and Danny show going on tour in Spain?
Coming to a pub in Benidorm near you soon.
Near you. I'll tell you what, mate, I was in Benidorm earlier on and I walked past the pub and a bloke was outside singing at this pub to about a dozen old age pensioners, right? And they're sitting there, half of them were asleep. One of them was trying to get his false teeth back in. And this guy was the most Benidorm singer that you'll ever see in Benidorm. He had the shirt undone to his, like, 5 buttons down, the big hairy chest, the big medallion ring and the bracelet. And he was a shocking singer, but it was brilliant. It was proper out of Benidorm, you know what I mean? David, thank you. Hi, boys. Beware, Lammy is in Spain, spine for Zippy. Is he? Is he in Spain, is he? He won't be welcome round here.
Maybe he'll come and see you.
No, I don't think so, mate. Come on, my good God. Let's have a little look. No, I did it. No, Stephanie, what I said was Paul Thorpe skin. The boxing names are Danny Salmonella and Paul Thorpe skin. Right, my turn.
You know what, Paul? Just
right,
have a quick. I'll give my mate a shout out. Yeah, one of my, probably one of my best mates. His surname. We spoke about doing catering before, and his surname is spelt Knelleler, and my name's Salmonella. I don't think the catering business would have done very well, do you? Salmonella catering.
Salmonella, yeah, that would have gone down well, wouldn't it? Oh dear, I like this one. Look, Paul, the one, Danny, the one-armed bandit versus Paul, the beetroot Thorpe. Yeah.
I've got a super chat from Jackie Lee, but I don't know whether you can see it, Paul.
Let's have a little look. Jackie, I can indeed. Thank you very much. When is the bout and where? Hope it's in England. I'll tell you where it'll be,
before
Jackie.
You answer that, Paul, before you answer that, can I hit you with question number 5?
Go on then, yeah. Well, it's my turn actually, but go on. We'll have a swap round. Go on.
Well, because it was sort of, all right, I'll hit you with this and then you've got 2 questions for me. Are you in deep training for our upcoming fight? Wembley Stadium is apparently booked out. So have you tried the Queen Vic down in Benidorm seafront?
Danny, I think we'd have trouble filling the local phone box, wouldn't we? Let's be honest.
I don't know. My belly's getting quite big, mate. Me and you would fill the phone box. Don't worry about that.
I was going to say, if we were selling tickets, mate, we'd be in big trouble, wouldn't we? Dear oh dear.
Yeah, go on then. You can hit me.
Mouse Charger, thanks. Just because Mr. Thorpe has enough £2 super chats. Cheers, mate. Appreciate that. Okay, so what is the most frightening film that you've ever seen? Right. Has there ever been a film that has genuinely frightened you?
Not really. I don't really get particularly scared, but I tell you what, when I was younger, must have been at the right time. It was night. I was on my own and I watched the original Pet Sematary, and I found that very, very eerie. And also the other one was the Blair Witch Project. I know that was a very low budget rubbish film, but that plays with your mind, that film. And I think those are the 2 most disturbing films I've ever seen. Should I just say?
Yeah.
Should I just say, yeah.
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 Disturbing is a good word.
I wouldn't say I'm particularly scared of them because I watched them on my own in the dark, you know. In fact, I watched a Blair Witch Project on Halloween once. I remember that.
I'll tell you mine, The Exorcist.
Yeah, it was a good film. The original one.
The original one. I'll tell you, it came out, I don't know what year it came out, but I'm going to take a guess and say about 1973, 74. Can someone Google that? When did The Exorcist come out, guys? Can someone tell us in the chat? In fact, let me just Google that. Hold on a minute. What year was The Exorcist made? 1973. There you go.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not going to be far out. I was only 2.
1973. 2. Bloody hell. You starred in The Omen, didn't you, Damien?
There's a true story, quickly, but while we're on the subject, when I was born, it was going to be Danny or Damien, and it was a flip of a coin, and it come up Danny. Danny. There's a dark side to me yet, Paul, mate.
Yeah, maybe. You ain't got 666 on your head somewhere, have you, Danny?
You know what? When Carter was born, he was so naughty, I actually looked in his hair for it. And my own son, funny enough, he was naughty as well. And I did check their numbers. I did check.
Look, I'll tell you a little story about that. Thanks, Kathy. I'll get round to answering that in a moment. So if it was 1973, here's a crazy thing, Danny. I would have been 12. 61, 71. Yeah, I'd have been 12, right? So I'm 12 years old. That would have been an 18-rated film. And I remember queuing up with friends to get in to see that film at Wimbledon Cinema. And we got in to see it. I don't know how, because I'm 12, right? Oh. And we were standing in the queue. And back in the day, you'd stand on the left, right? And the people that were coming out of the cinema would pass you on the right. So you're waiting for people to come out of the cinema, and as they're coming out, people are going in. And I remember to this day, as I'm queuing up to get in to see the film, someone walked past us and went, "Don't watch it, you'll never be the same."
Yeah.
Right? And that made us want to watch it even more. Well, we're like, oh, yeah, look at it. We'll have some of this. And I'll tell you what, I watched that film, and I've never watched it since. Ever, and I won't. There was something about that film that just weren't right.
Something happened to me a few years ago, and I'll try and make this really quick, right? There's a film out called The Ring, and it's a horror film. And what they done, they found an old video cassette in the film, they put it in, and they watched these sequence of things, someone splitting their thumb on a ladder, like on a nail on a ladder, and just stupid random stuff, a well, all this sort of stuff, all in black and white. And they said that anyone watched the film, they were then cursed with the thing, right? And I remember renting this thing on DVD. So I'm watching it, and then obviously afterwards, you go down to your little menu, and it's got extras, and it's put, "Don't watch this." So of course, I clicked it, and it was that sequence of films that you was watching if you was going to be cursed by it. Now, in the film, as soon as the person was cursed by the thing that they've watched, the telephone rung. And I promise you, as that clip that I'm going, ha ha ha, you know, blah blah. This was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I kid you not. The second it finished, the phone rung, and I thought, I ain't answering that. I thought I'd let it go on my answer phone type of thing, you know. But it was my dad phoning to say, I don't know, I'd left something important around his house or something. But I was like, you cannot believe. And my dad will remember. He's probably watching this. He'll remember that telephone call. But it happened like that. It was a sequence. You weren't meant to watch it. I watched it, and then at the end, anyone that's watched the film will know the telephone rings and it says like you're next or whatever. And of course, the second that thing that I weren't meant to watch, the phone rang, and it was 1 o'clock in the morning. So it weren't going to ring anyway. And that was the home phone. So you didn't know who it was that was calling until you answered it. Anyway, carrying on.
Yeah. Kathy says, what's the highlight of your life, Paul, today? Well, it might sound a bit... Yeah, meeting Danny, yeah. It might sound a bit cheesy, Kathy, but you got to say, I would have said me kids, obviously, but as I've got older now, I'd say my grandkids. They are the light of my life. So I'm going to say my grandkids. I know it's a bit cheesy. If you're looking for an answer other than a family one, I would say a highlight of my life to date would be, if you're looking for something a bit out of the ordinary, probably the people I met in football or boxing, I guess. Yeah, that sort of thing. But generally, it will be family. So I've got another question for you, Danny. It is your last one, and then we'll start going through the chat. If you could have dinner with anyone, past or present, dead or alive, and naturally they'd be alive when you was having dinner with them, Danny, you know. But if you could have dinner with anyone, past or present, dead or alive, who would that be and why?
Go on.
Anyone you like.
Let me just go on.
Go on, you have a little think about that.
Yeah, I've probably got the person. It's Rocky Marciano. There you go.
Really, Rocky Marciano?
I've always been fascinated by him. He died tragically in a plane crash. The only unbeaten heavyweight champion in history, and just seemed like a nice guy. Obviously, I've never had a chance to meet him. I do have his autograph, but I have never had the chance to meet him. And I would like to have met him. There's millions of other people. I mean, you can go back to King Arthur. Do you know what I mean? Whatever. But it springs to mind. I'd like to have had to sit down with Rocky Marciano. Can I throw that question back to you? I know I've not got any more questions, but
go on. Who would mine be?
Yeah,
Queen Victoria.
Yeah.
My favourite monarch.
Yeah, completely.
Dark side. Can you imagine having lunch with Queen Victoria at Buckhouse around about 1880, 1878, 79, 1880. What a dinner that would have been. Wow.
Yeah, lots of changes.
The dogs are Spanish citizens now. Yeah. But they can travel freely throughout Europe now. Dinghy dogs. Lee says he switched to Danny. It's a much better channel. Oh, Danny, by the way, I've got some news for you.
Go on.
You know, I keep watching you and you keep pointing out that Frank Bruno is Bruno Frank and everything's back to front.
Yeah.
You know why, don't you? Because you can mirror your camera. You've got your mirror cameraed.
So can you read that properly? Can you read that properly?
That looks like Frank Bruno now to me.
Oh, yeah. For me, it's completely back to front.
Yeah. Graham said he's watching Danny's channel to give him support. Well done, mate. The moderator, cheers, boycott Hawksmoor. Absolutely. Boycott Hawks. 100%. Don't ever eat there. Don't give them your business. Sod them. Let them get on with it. If they want to go woke, let them go broke.
Politics or talking about any individuals, Paul, but I watched that. How despicable was that? How despicable to be treated like that? Despicable. Shameful. Shameful.
It's more than shameful. It's absolute. Well, can you imagine if you did that to someone of colour or of a different religion? Can you imagine the uproar?
Well, where do you draw the line if you can ask someone to leave? I know you can ask someone to leave legally because it's a licensed premises. You can ask anyone to leave. Don't have to have a reason for it. But, morally, where does that draw the line now?
Well, let's not forget, Danny.
If you wanted to eat in there and you had sunburn like you've got, they're going to sit there and say, mate, you're going to have to leave because you're showing up our salad, our beetroot.
Well, I'll tell you something else and all. Liam was there, right?
Yeah.
It's not a good idea to upset Liam. He's got a very, very powerful channel and a very powerful voice. So, it wasn't the best move for them. And I think they will regret that. It's going to cost them a lot of money, I think.
Yeah, I believe so.
And rightly so. Rightly so. I hope they go broke.
Got another super chat there, Paul.
Let's have a little look. Oh, yeah, good one. David Cosby, 1979 on TV, Salem's Lot. Oh, my God, frightening. Yeah, I do remember that. It was indeed. Thank you, Mouse Charger. Did you ever get into another sport besides boxing? Is that for me or for Danny? I mean, I was involved in football and boxing. I think Danny's been mostly boxing, Danny, right? Yeah.
Sport-wise, for me, has always been boxing. I mean, I like watching Formula One. I love it. I've watched it when my son, my older son, was 4 years old, and I've been into it ever since. So that was back in 2008 when Lewis Hamilton was doing well.
A very poignant message from Jackie. Thank you, Jackie. Want to say thank you to you too. I lost my husband last year after he took his own life, but you've brought a smile back to my face, so cheers for that, Jackie. It's an absolute honour that we've been able to do that, and you haven't got to super chat me, Jackie, to get that read out. If I see it, I will read that out.
Worthwhile, doesn't it, Paul? Makes it all worthwhile.
It does indeed, yeah. Yeah, I saw that. Dave Richardson, Terry Stone versus Carlton Leach, 6 p.m. on Sunday on YouTube. Going to be epic. Yeah, I should probably tune in for that
Is
one.
That this Sunday?
Yeah.
I've seen them come together as a little, but I thought it was a wind-up.
No, I mean, look, I think, look, I've never met Carlton Leach. I think do you know him, Danny?
Yeah.
I've never met Carlton. I've met Terry, obviously, because I did a podcast with Terry. They've got their beef. They've got their problem. But look, they're going to sort it out like men. They're going to have it out live on YouTube or as an interview. And that's exactly what Piers and Tommy should do, in my opinion.
And me and you.
They should. And me and you, we're going to get in the ring, Danny, aren't we?
We'll see who comes out of the Carlton and the other one. What's his name? Terry.
We'll see how that goes. Yeah. Andy T. All right, lads. First time messaging. Love the channel. Thank you very much, Andy. Please make sure it's not the last time. Thank you very much. That restaurant chain has not done themselves any good. No, absolutely.
Ian Nicholson's just said Grange Hill was scary. It put me right off school.
Grange Hill. Who remembers Grange Hill?
Yeah, I do.
Paul misses me. I do, mate. I do miss you. I do miss you. I told you the other day I missed you. Old Tommy says, I miss the real reform in the UK. Too bloody right. I mean, what? Oh, God. Danny, sorry, let me just have this little roll. I mean, what is the new chairman on about? No, it's just, this is what I'm saying. People say, oh, Paul, have you given up and all that? Given up? I mean, jeez, it's like banging your head against the brick wall, isn't it? Oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh, look at Claire, bless her. I'm on both, didn't want to choose.
Oh, that's nice. Cheers, Claire. Appreciate that. As long as I'm on the iPad, because that's the bigger picture, and Paul's on the phone, the smaller one, I'm happy.
Back to the original stuff. Barry Brooks, gold president or just stainless 216610. I mean, gold look, president. Barry, the gold president is just a timeless, beautiful, stunning thing. I mean, if the money's there, go for the president.
Look at the price of gold.
Why not? Yeah.
Run them both over in a steamroller, flatten them both, and then go and try and scrap them in. See what one's worth the most money.
See what's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lizzie says, I wish I could escape from England, but I can't afford it. No, I mean, there's a lot of people feeling that way. Bet Paul's missing the Greg steak slices. Yeah. I'll tell you what I've done. I'll tell you what Lidl's do out here. My wife, I like taking my wife in Lidl's because she's always the best dressed woman in Lidl's, right? But I've discovered these apple turnovers in Lidl's out here.
Yeah, I know the ones. Strudels, apple strudel.
I bought 5 the other night and I thought they'll last me a couple of days. By 10 o'clock, all gone.
No way.
All gone. 5. Told you I'm in training, Danny. I'm taking it very seriously.
Well, it's got apple in it. It's one of your 5 a day.
Farage is a sellout. I will not be voting for a party that consists of and panders to Islam, full stop. DRT BCRN9. Thank you very much for that. Tell you what, Danny, look, even Julie's done the dirty on me. Look, they're all nipping over to you, mate.
They're with the winner, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
Dom, throw Paul a question that is Danny. Let me start again. Danny, throw Paul in a question that he's not expecting.
All right, give me a minute. I'll think of something.
John, why is no one speaking about the Manchester airport attackers?
Has there been new news on that then? Because I'm not aware of it.
Yeah, I've not seen it, to be fair, mate. Glenn Pyatt. Big question to both of you. Why do you think the banks want to know your private business? I had the same sending money to my son when he was at uni. Again, I don't think it's the banks, it's the government instructions to the banks. I think all the banks really want to do is have your money in their possession, but they are so that they can use it, but they are guided more and more and more by governmental regulations that tell the banks they have to do this, they have to do that. Because look, when I draw out some money from my local bank and the 21-year-old cashier says to me, do you mind if I ask what you're going to do with that money or what you want it for? She don't care, but that's what she's been told to ask. That's the government rules. Danny, your thoughts on that one?
Paul, I was going to slate off a particular bank, but because we're live and we're on your channel as well, I've made it quite vocal about a bank that I've had a problem with in the UK. I won't mention that on here because it's not fair, because it's on your channel as well. But they have been nothing but horrific. I mean, I was even spoken to so badly that when they played the tape back, they sent me compensation without me asking, because that's how badly I was treated by them. They've still got money of mine. This is some 5 months later. They've now sent me a check, which I now can't bank because I've only got online banking, and they have not, and I have checked, not got the facility to clear a check. Obviously, checks are a bit of a thing of the past now. I did ask the bank in question to send me a bank transfer, for which they told me that they can't do a bank transfer. This is a bank that my dad's 91, he can do a bank transfer. Do you know what I mean? This particular bank, I'm not going to mention them. If you want to see it, you've got them on my channel. But yeah,
we wouldn't mention Santander in any way, shape, or form.
I don't know why
that would be
you
terrible.
would do that. Why have you just
the problem is, Danny, is that our bank with the buggers as well, and they've been giving me a load of grief. But we'll see what happens.
I did bank with them, not anymore, mate. Wouldn't bank with them if they were last.
Mouse Charger, thank you very much. And back on yours, Danny. I'm a flip flopper. Lol.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Yeah, I've got 11,500 watching on my channel at the moment. But what about you?
21,795. You can't, Danny. Don't try and kid me, mate. Cop Watcher 2. Hi, Paul and Danny. Hope you both okay. Member for 14 months. Thanks very much for that, mate. Really appreciate it, Danny. I've just realised I'm looking at the messages here. And I'm reading messages that were sent at 10:13 Spanish time or 9:13 UK time. And it's now
quite a few.
Yeah, we are quite some way behind. So let me try and go through some of these. Let's have a little look. Lending Danny my support for this one. Let's try and get down to some questions. Advert popped up on Paul's live. Never had that before. Good. That's good. A few people saying your mic was low, but it seems to be all right now, Danny. Yep, of course. I can never be real Spanish. I would never want to be anything other than British. Paul, are you missing Brighton? Yeah, like George Michael misses Andrew Ridgely, as they say. Not at all, mate. Not at all.
You've got it down the road to you anyway, ain't you? You know,
an
hour or so down the road, 45 minutes, whatever it is. So you've got Brighton in the sun, haven't you? You know.
Yeah. trying to get to some questions. Poor old boy needs a nap. That's what it is, mate. Paul, thoughts on what happened in Los Angeles recently? Look, again, you know, I've been really super busy out here trying to get things in order. Obviously, I've had my eye on a little bit of what's going on out there, but before I really sort of give an opinion on something like that, I'd like to catch up a little bit more with what's been going on. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I will side with Trump because I think the man does the right thing on most occasions, but I haven't seen the entire ups and downs of it, and it's do a little bit of catching up. Some of these questions makes me realise that I've not been watching the news as much as I was, Danny.
That's a good sign, Paul. I bet you're happy.
Yeah, it is a good sign.
You'll be happier because of it, mate.
Yeah, to a degree, Danny. To a degree.
I'm going to be honest with you. I've got a totally different take on all this stuff that's gone on in LA, or, you know, with Trump and etc. But it's, you know, politics, isn't it? I just think the Trump and Musk thing is a publicity thing. I don't even think it's real. I genuinely don't. I think there's going to be more come out of it. They'll be friends again soon. Wait and see.
Right, we've got a thing here from the moderator, Danny, and you got to sing this. You must know the tune. Do you know the tune?
Nah, too old for me, mate.
You don't know that tune. You don't know that tune.
Nah, I really.
When
don't.
I'm 64. No. See.
Is that right?
You know, really.
We was playing that on your birthday day, weren't we?
Yeah, we was. Yeah. There you go. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Let's have a look. What's this one? Linda, question. How are holidaymakers received in mainland Spain? I ask because Mallorca wants to reduce the amount of people going there, and we need to change our holiday. Linda, I don't know about Mallorca because I'm not down that far. The Spanish have been amazingly polite and pleasant to us. And they're proving to be wonderful people. I think the big problem that the Spanish have with, it's not so much tourists, Linda. I think it's people that are coming here and buying holiday homes, leaving them empty, and then buggering off back to Holland, Belgium, France, Germany, UK, wherever, meaning the local people either can't get housing or can't afford it. Now, I totally support and get that. We are guests in their country, and I believe that we should be doing our bit to make sure that the Spanish people aren't left behind or don't get themselves in any problems. So I would support their beefs to a degree, but I don't think it's so much with the tourists.
I think there's an awful lot of mainstream media influence on all that, and I don't believe that it's nothing like as bad as they're making it out. They for some reason don't seem to want people to leave the UK. I don't know whether they want them to spend their money in the UK to regenerate money there, because obviously people go abroad, they take £2,000 out of the UK and, you know, and spend it in a foreign country. So I don't think the mainstream media are playing a fair game there. And as far as I'm concerned, I've only ever had massively positive experience with Spanish people. In fact, I've not had a negative experience, and I've been here quite a few years. And like I say, you know, I know they don't want them to buy to let, you know, Airbnb properties because it's forcing the prices up. But also on the flip side of that, it's nice that the economy's growing, but the prices are going up because they're way behind the UK in a lot of areas.
Well, I'll tell you what I was listening to the other day, Danny. I was listening to the Expat radio station there that runs 24/7. Do you ever listen to it?
We've got Spectrum FM.
Yeah, I think that's the one. And they were saying that 8 out of 10 people that are coming to Spain to live are overqualified for the jobs that they're doing.
Yeah.
Overqualified.
Yeah.
Now, if you turn that around in the UK, it's probably the other way around. 8 out of 10 are underqualified, you know. So look, the Spanish economy is going to be, I think it's going to be doing really, really well. I mean, the amount of wine my wife gets through, it can't help but do well. Carol says, what sort of thing do the Spanish talk about? I'll be honest, Carol, if I could understand them, I'd tell you, but I can't understand hardly any of it. But
Family.
I will say, family, yeah. Family. What I will say is, I've noticed out here is that it's a Christian country, very much a Christian country. My wife and I went out for dinner the other night and we sat there, and 3 times during the meal, the local church bells went off, and it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. And I've got to tell you, mate, you know, we have lost our way and lost our identity at home.
Yeah,
but
very Christian and Catholic, mate. Christian and Catholic.
Yeah, they've kept their identity, and you know, Life Hut Raw says Brentford winning the Premiership. Is that we was talking about reality, mate, not dreams.
Cheers, mate.
Grievous, go back to biblical times. I think that's one where we're talking about, you know, where we like to go back to. Lawrence, I'd want to see the Kennedy assassination and aftermath. What an experience that would be.
Yeah, it'd be good to witness, wouldn't it? I mean, not a nice thing, but yeah.
Yeah, but to be there on the day, you know.
Yeah, of course.
The event would be Paul beating Danny at the boxing match. JFK shooting, another one. I'll tell you what, one night we'll talk about the JFK shooting, because that's something I've studied a lot over the years. Howard Cotter, when he discovered that Tutankhamun, yeah. I think that is, yeah. The moon landing, or did he? Yeah, a few people saying the moon landing. This one is
with it, aren't they?
I find this one very interesting. I'll tell you mine in a moment, and then what you can do is when you've got nothing to do. Old Tommy says, Paul Thorpe, will you and Danny chant Old Tommy Robinson? You don't want to hear me sing, I've got to tell you, mate. Well, I just have, yeah. Sean says have they really been to the moon ever? I'll tell you what, I was thinking about that the other day. I'll say this, Danny, right? Do you realise that man flew to the moon before they invented an electric scooter?
Yeah, I can believe that.
Think about that. Or a mobile phone. Graham, I've got to tell you, mate, that's not a bad shout.
Yeah, that's going to be a popular comment, mate.
A lot of people saying no one ever landed on the moon. Dunkirk. I find this one very interesting. There's a good one. If Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon, who was the bloke filming it? It was Danny.
Can I
wasn't
just say it was an arm on the landing module that went down. There was an arm with a camera on it.
So they say.
Yeah.
Enoch says, when the pyramids were built, I would like to see how they were built. Yeah, bloody hell.
Yeah, 9/11. This the old UFO that come down to build them.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of these. Joan of Arc burning. Wow, this is interesting. See, I really love that sort of question. And these answers. Hitler's suicide. Look. Would have been better if you'd have gone back to the night that Hitler's dad got a bit fruity with his mum and told him to leave it out. That would have been.
That could have really changed the course of history, couldn't it? That.
Yeah. Oh, look at this one. The ambulanceman in the Parisian tunnel where they murdered Diana. Wow.
Yeah, man. Another thing with the royal family, mate.
Sharon Kennedy, again, the circumstances surrounding the death of the Princess of Wales. Siobhan says, what Charlie said to Khan as he knighted him, I'd love to know what he said to him at the time. I reckon it was something like, Now listen, you slippery little git. If you don't get yep, Zia Yusuf is back. Griver says Hitler went to Argentina. Yeah, there's some evidence for that. To see and hear Mr. Churchill, wouldn't that be a thing?
That'd be nice.
I'd like to have been silent witness at Roswell. You see, all these things, Roswell, Diana, JFK, I mean, they're just immense events in our lives, in our lifetime. Well, not all of our lifetimes, but Howard Carr, when he discovered Tutankhamun. Perfect, Jesus. Oh, look, I've got one here, haven't I? Hold on, Danny, we've got a football one here. Hold on a minute. Life Hut row, Brentford winning 4-1 at Fulham. I tell you, look, Life Hut, right? My little bee friend, right? My little buzzy bee. You know what they call Brentford the bees, because they buzz around and get on the nerves, and every now and then you have to swat them away.
He's going to block you in a minute, you know that, don't you?
Let's not talk about Fulham's record against Brentford, my old mate, because I don't think you'll find it very entertaining, shall we? All the best, mate. By the way, you're doing very well. How do you feel about Thomas Frank leaving for Spurs? The resurrection of Jesus Christ, another great one. Robert, evening Patriots. I'm enjoying these. I'm enjoying the chat tonight, Danny.
Easy,
First
mate.
class,
Easy.
First class.
Yeah.
Barry says loves the banner. Evening,
cheers,
chaps.
Barry. Evening, mate.
Queen live at Live Aid in Wembley. That would have been an iconic moment. Funny enough, Siobhan, I remember to this day standing in my kitchen where I lived at the time, watching that. But you don't realise at the time what an iconic moment it's going to turn out to be.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, Paul, why are you wearing a syrup? Now, I've had my hair cut today. Kate Walsh, Millwall winning the FA Cup. We've got another dreamer on the go here, Danny. Look. I think we'll give this one, Jill. I'd like to have been there the day the two tiers parents met, and I could have warned them not to have kids. Oh, look, 2 up, 2 down. Hammers, man. If you could go back in the TARDIS, what year would you go back to? Definitely be the Victorian period for me. Paul, how did I meet my wife? I met her in the nightclub in Croydon called the Blue Orchid, and I met her on the 10th of February, 1990. And if you go, or was it the 11th?
Can I just say, is that the day, 10th of February 1990, is that the day that Tyson and Douglas fought?
Yep.
And Tyson got beat by Buster Douglas in Japan.
So we're in the Blue Orchid in Croydon, and I'm with my mate, and we was all excited about, we'd stay in the Blue Orchid till it kicked out, and then we'd go home and we'd watch the fight live on the satellite.
Just that date was a very big bell with me because something else happened on that date. Go on.
Yeah, exactly. So we hadn't really planned to get too involved in anything that night. We was just going to go and have a little look round and have a bite to eat and a few beers in the club and go back and watch the boxing. And I spied this girl across the dance floor, as they say, and I said to my mate, you see that girl over there? I'm going to marry that girl, right? And a year later, we were married.
That's crazy, isn't it?
34, 35. Was that 1990? We got married in 1991. So,
34 years ago, yeah.
34 years, yeah. And, and went home and watched Tyson get beat. So I think I'm not sure if I remember it because I met my wife or because Mike Tyson got beat, but for the sake of a peaceful life, I'll say it's the former.
Yeah.
Carol says, "Don't know if I will be quiet. Would love to have been at Wembley while Queen were on stage." My few football ones in here. DRT, BCRN 9. I'll go back to when Britain was British, where there wasn't a mosque in sight, 100%.
There's a couple of my ones saying Aston Villa 1, Fulham 0.
Well, Aston Villa 1, Fulham 0. The only Aston Villa 1, Fulham 0. The only 1-0 that I remember with Aston Villa was Aston Villa 0, Fulham 1 at Wembley in the playoffs. Boom, boom. Have some of that, lads.
AJ Audit said, my uncle Nobby Stiles played in the 1966 World Cup.
Was he your uncle, was he? Wow.
AJ Audit.
You wouldn't know who Nobby Stiles was, Danny, would you?
No, I haven't heard him. Sorry about that. I've only heard of Kevin Keegan and David.
You've not heard the Nobby Stiles? Oh my good God! I'll tell you why. I'll tell you my moment in history that I will go back to. January the 22nd, 1879, in a place called
specific, isn't it?
Well, I'm a bit of an anorak with this one. January the 22nd, 1879, in a place called Isandlwana in South Africa, where over 1,000 British troops were massacred by 20,000 members of the brave, heroic Zulu army, who were unbelievable warriors, facing a European enemy with, modern day for the time firearms and cannon. And the Zulu king sent his troops covertly through some terrain that the British didn't think they could negotiate. And they took them by surprise at Isandlwana. And the stories of bravery that took place that day are just unbelievable. If anyone doesn't know about the Battle of Isandlwana, and I'll give you one little example of the old British spirit, the old British ways, the way that people were and how they were different back then. As the battle wore on, and it was becoming obvious to the British soldiers that they were all going to die. They were all getting massacred, basically. One of the captains had about 4 or 5 of his men. They'd run out of bullets. They were fighting off with their bayonets and all the rest of it. And when he realised their number was up, he went along the line of these lads, shook their hands, each and every one of them, and said, "Good fight, gentlemen. You've done your best. Now it's every man for himself." And that was the end of them, But it's just different stories of what took place that day, how they saved the colours, the Queen's colours, the regimental colours, how they saved those. They lost them at the Buffalo River. Just an amazing story. The Battle of Isandlwana. Watch it on YouTube. It is just simply amazing. Carol says, I'm loving the question and answers chit chat. Thank you very much, Carol.
Yeah, cheers, Carol.
Let's have a little look. Lammy, thank you, David. Lammy is in Gibraltar on mission Chagos 2. Will wheelie bear Paul made a pucker pie, it fell on its face, sod's law. Cheers, Ali. One woman vigilante Thank you. I sent you an email earlier on. Hi, Paul. I understand your position. I desperately need help re arrests over transgender sister, etc. Kelly J would not let me speak again. I'll refer you to my email that I sent you earlier on. Unfortunately, it's not something that I can get involved in, but obviously, you know, it is what it is. Let's have a little look. Let's get down some of the let them mentality. Let's top old school vibes. Paul and Danny. The loser has to do a bikini try on. Listen, guys, you wouldn't want to see me in a bikini, honestly.
Might be able to talk Sophie into it.
I mean, yeah, that would be bad, wouldn't it? I mean, look, we talk about, you know, horror films that have shocked your, you know, your worst horror films.
Claire Bear said earlier she'd like to have met the Craze.
Right. Well, I know Kate, Ronnie's wife or former wife. She's actually a really nice woman, to be fair. Really nice girl. She was a customer in my shop. That's how I know her. Shall I answer this? Shall I answer this question? I'm going to answer it. You can read it out, Danny.
Right. Paul Thorpe, will you fight? Bang Bang Ray. He made a video saying you plan to fight him. Can I just address that before we even pass it over to Paul?
Go on, Danny.
Ray seems to have turned myself and Paul's sparring thing that we've got coming up as that Paul has challenged him to a boxing match. I don't know who's planted that seed in his head, but there's nothing come out of Paul's mouth, nothing come out of my mouth, and he does seem to be getting an awful lot of facts wrong on his channel. I'm not disrespecting him. He's you know, he's a likable character, and you know, he's never said a bad word about me, although he spoke about me quite a few times. He speaks about Paul relatively regularly, shall we say? And yeah, Paul, over to you, mate.
Well, look, first of all, Danny, I've never called anyone out in my life because that's not what I do. I'm not a gangster. I'm not a wannabe gangster. I'm not a fighter. I'm not a boxer. I'm not a tough guy. I'm just an ordinary granddad that likes to talk to other people, have a little bit of an audience, have a bit of a laugh, try and brighten people's lives up. And I love my country. That's all I've ever been. I don't call people out. I've never called anyone out. I have no intention to call anyone out. I'm 64 years old. And by the way, the gentleman concerned, who I'm not going to, you know, I've said before, I don't like talking about people, but he's even older than me. My advice would be, well, my advice to anyone of our age would be, enjoy your life and your health while God grants it to you.
And have a
because, and you know, just enjoy life and remember that we're all only a bad visit away from the doctor from it all being over. So, you know, pack it up, you know, just have some respect and behave. That
and enjoy your life. Exactly that. Yeah, enjoy your life, mate.
And that I'm not talking about any one person. I'm talking about everyone now, Danny. Especially when you get to our age or my age, you know, life's too short. Life is precious. Your health is precious. And we're all too old to be getting in a boxing ring, trying to bash the shit out of each other. And for what? A few clicks and views on YouTube. You got to be kidding me.
And a torn left bicep. And a torn left bicep.
And a torn, and Danny, you're going to know all about it because I'm going to surprise you, son. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, you're a slippery character, son.
But look, listen, just for the record, I don't call anyone out. That's not what I do. It's not what I'm about. And I'm not interested. So, you know, it is what it is. Paul sparred with Frank Sinatra. The real Neil, I like to witness who actually fired the shot that killed JFK, so we would all know. I'll tell you my view on that, Neil. I think it was Lee Harvey Oswald. I think the science probably tells us that it was Oswald. But But what I do think, I think the story with JFK is not who pulled the trigger, was who was behind the man that pulled the trigger. I think that's where the story is, for me personally. Have you followed that story much?
Yeah, I know
Danny?
exactly who you're talking about. What I watched it.
Yeah.
You try and analyse it, didn't you? When you watched the very bad footage, obviously it's grainy footage because of the year. But yeah, very interested in history.
Tina says, Danny, are you or was you a boxer for real? Boxer dog, maybe, but.
I am not, because I'm over 50 now, and that's a very short-lived career. I did do amateur boxing, yes, amateur stuff. I've sparred with a lot of world champions. So I've sparred with professionals, well, world champion professionals, and a few other, up-and-coming professionals and bits and bobs. But I was never professional, and I do box. Well, I try to box now, but it's just for a bit of fitness and a bit of sparring and messing around.
Was your decision not to ever turn professional, Danny? Because I know a lot of amateurs don't want to turn professional. Was that the case for you, or was you? No. And I'm not being funny now when I say this. Was you just not good enough to turn pro?
I wasn't disciplined enough. I think maybe if I was disciplined, possibly. But in reflection, I'm glad I didn't, because it's only one punch away from a career ending. It could be a very short-lived career if that's, that's why a lot of the time you've got a postman that would do it on the side, or someone that works on a building site that does it on the side becomes a professional boxer, because it's a limiting career and you've got to be at the very top to make any serious money.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of people that watch boxing and think that all boxers are made of money, they're, far from it. I mean, when I was hanging around.
Risky bloody sport as well. I would never recommend anyone turn professional in boxing.
A lot of my mates were pros, and they was £200-300 quid a fight.
If that,
no money at all. Yeah. No money at all. Blimey, I'm still way behind on the chat here, mate.
Yeah, I've got my chat's banging away, but where I'm sort of looking at one laptop and then I'm trying to read it on a very small phone, it can be a bit complicated. So I'll have to get right in the first place. I don't know whether my chat comes up on yours, but yeah.
I'm not sure if it does or not, to be honest with you, Danny. That's the question that's been asked, and I've answered it. Who's going to service these healthy young men? Yep, money can't buy your health. Exactly.
That's a great answer. Yeah. Look at Steve Jobs from Apple.
Yeah. Alex, thank you, Alex. Hello, sunshine. Been watching you for a long time. Love it, Ireland. Thank you very much. Respect to you people out there in Ireland. Thank you so much.
I've got one from John Logan here, Paul.
Go on, mate.
Danny, did you ever box at Terry Lawless's gym in Canning Town? Lots of top boxers there. Yes, I sparred there, but I've never obviously boxed there as such. I had Mark Kaler there, Gary Mason, Horace Notice, Frank Bruno. Yeah, quite a lot of decent fighters from there. Yeah.
I was at the Mark Kaler Roy Gums middleweight championship, middleweight title fight, and what a bloody night that was! I tell you what, there was more fights outside the ring than there was inside.
Yeah, I've been to a few fights like that. Someone's just told me, stop being vain and put my glasses on, because I'm doing that with the.
Put your bins on, Danny.
That big, go on. I've got a selection of 2 pairs of reading glasses.
The funny thing is, that night, Mark Kaler, Roy Gums, it was a big grudge fight. Yeah. But it wasn't the black-white thing. It was Mark Kaler was West Ham and Roy Gums was a Tottenham boy. So you had all the Tottenham boys there supporting Roy Gums, all the West Ham fans there supporting Mark Kaler.
Mark Kaler, yeah.
not a good
It was more of a
recipe
football
for.
fight, weren't it? Really?
Yeah, it was more of a yeah. But yeah, that was a interesting one. Yeah, I think we'll have our fight, Danny. I've marked down for 6 5-second rounds.
Do you think you'd be up for that? That's 30 seconds, Paul.
Oh, no. Oh dear. I tell you, when I'm standing in front of you, Danny, in that ring, I probably will be. That was. Do you remember Jimmy Batten?
Yeah, I do.
Do you remember Jimmy Batten?
Yeah.
Jimmy Batten. Yeah. He had an old joke, right? He used to do a bit of after dinner speaking and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember. Did Jimmy fight Roberto Duran?
Different weight, weren't he?
I'm trying to remember. Who was the big? He fought someone big name. Now I can't remember. But his party trick was he'd have a pair of old pants in his pocket, right? And he'd say, "Oh, these were my underpants," and I fought whoever it was, and he'd have these pair of underpants with a big skid mark in them. Oh dear, he was in EastEnders, Jimmy. He went on to be in EastEnders, I think, if I remember rightly. Yeah, he did. Yeah. Oh dear, I've paid Paul to take a dive in the second round.
I've not really read out many of the comments on my feed tonight. I've got to apologise because I've got hundreds and hundreds of comments on there.
Hey, Danny, look, who to be? Paul, take a snake in the ring with you. Yeah, you'd end up running a mile, wouldn't you, Danny?
I'll leg it if you do. That shocked me, mate. It was at least 4 foot, this poxy thing, and it come up from behind me. Oh.
David Crosby, thanks, mate. How many times have you watched the movie Zulu? David, if I'm honest with you, probably 500 times.
I've never seen it.
But the film Zulu Dawn is actually the film about the battle that I spoke about. And that had a number of big stars in it. Burt Lancaster. Blimey, who's the guy that was in Long Good Friday?
Bob
Hoskins. Bob Hoskins. Had a number of big stars in it, but Zulu was made, I think, in about 1963. Was still a better film for me. It was more cinematic, but Zulu Dawn was the film about the battle that I was referring to. Let me try and get down a little bit more to the bottom of the chat. I mean, I'm scrolling through it.
Someone's just said, Deadpool's just said, Paul, was you a bouncer at Mothercare?
Oh, yeah, I got a sack. I got bullied. Couldn't do the job.
Lost the fight.
Steve Watson, The Wicker Man. Yeah, that was a creepy film, The Wicker Man. That was what was his name now? He used to play a copper, didn't he? The Wicker Man. I can't remember now, but yeah, creepy film. And the woman that was in it. Oh, what was her name? She was the Swedish actress, wasn't she, or something? You'll know, I mean. Going back a long time.
Edward Woodward.
Yeoman and George. Edward Woodward, that's it. And who was the woman in there? Bridget, was it Bridget, someone or other?
Everyone's Googling it now.
Yeah. Was it Bridget? Can't remember. Someone to tell me. Jaws. Now, Jaws, believe it or not, everyone, it's the 50th anniversary of Jaws this year. 50 years ago. So if you watch Jaws when it first came out like I did, that was 50 years ago. Wow.
Yes, unreal, isn't it?
Now, I want to find out who the woman was in The Wicker Man. Come on, can someone tell me? She was married to some famous person. She was a very well-known actress back in the day. Britt Eklund, that's it. I knew there was some kind of Swedish connection
Thank you,
there.
JB. JB's just sent that one in. Thanks, mate. Oh,
Thank you,
all
mate.
coming in now. Everyone's saying British.
Yeah. Yeah, agree. That's Exorcist, horrible film. Yeah,
It is a horrible film, isn't it?
yeah.
Very well
I've
made
never
film
watched
to
it
be,
again,
No.
and I never will watch it again. I thought Jaws. Yeah, what a cracking film. And Spielberg. Wow, Jaws was.
It was
just
a great
immense.
film, wasn't it?
And I still watch it every now and again. I still watch it now. You know.
Have you seen that little prank thing that they do? Would you watch Jaws on the sea at the back of a cruise ship, on the sea, on one of the little rubber rings, and watch Jaws the music, Jaws the film of a night? They're all sitting there in the rubber rings around a big water screen, watching Jaws, pitch black sea underneath. Oh, nah, not for me, mate. Not for me.
Listen, mate, I won't even have a bath after I've watched Jaws for a couple of days. Yeah, plenty of. This is how far behind I am with the chat, guys. If anyone wonders why your messages don't always get read out, or often probably mostly don't get read out, is I'm now coming across your most scariest films, and that we started on that about an hour and 15 minutes ago, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many comments you get, Paul, but I get a lot, and you must get 10 times more than 10 times what I get.
Well, it's certainly a couple of thousand at least.
Yeah, I would say you're
Michael Carter. Quatermass and the will have you having nightmares. Do you know what, Michael? It probably did when I was about 7 or 8, but I think these days that film would be a little bit outdated now. But there's so many different versions as well. DJ Lee says, my dad wanted to call me Bruce Lee. I was Lee Michael. Blimey, imagine coming up with a name like Bruce Lee.
Even listening to Tubular Bells is scary.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, there's for me, there can never be a horror film that gets anywhere near The Exorcist ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woman in Black 2012. Never seen that.
I've seen that. That's a scary. I went and see it at the theatre as well. Woman in Black. It's a bit of a weird film. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen that back in the day. Lots of films. I'll have to go through some of these films tomorrow, Danny. Give me some ideas for some films to watch.
Some of the comments, Paul, one of them's put, didn't loads of bad stuff happen to the cast of The Exorcist? I think it wasn't The Exorcist, it was Poltergeist. The film Poltergeist, that's where all the, there was a load of sudden deaths and stuff to the crew and cast.
Yeah, Corinne's just reminded me. Yes, Corinne, there was indeed a preacher outside the cinema when we left as well. It really was a groundbreaking horror film. Candyman was a canny film. You'd never guess that Ian's a Geordie, would you? Canny. Whenever I hear Ian speak, I always want to put on an episode of A Friedison Pet.
Whenever I hear Ian speak, I have to get the old phone out for the translation, mate.
Yeah,
translate.
I've got Spanish and Geordie on my phone.
Geordie to English.
Just for Ian.
Sorry, Ian.
Geordie to English. Yeah. Love the Geordies, mate. Great sea, great people, proper people. Right, I'm tonight, Danny, by showing you something that you already have. And this, my friend, is no sales pitch. And I'll tell you why it's not a sales pitch.
Ain't the Paul Thorpe watch, is it? Oh,
you know this watch, don't you? Right? You know this watch, right? Well, this is the watch. Never mind your Rolexes, never mind your APs, never mind your Panerais and your Richard Milles. This is a watch that money cannot buy. And the reason that money cannot buy these watches is because there are no longer any for sale. So even if you wanted one, you cannot buy one. But what I am proud to say is that so many of my friends, my dear friends, have one of these watches. I have 3 colours, yellow. I have orange, white and black. And I have number 1. So they're all 1 of 100. So there's 300 watches in total, 100 orange, 100 white, 100 black. I have number 1 of all 3 colours. You have one. There are people in this chat right now. They have one. They have been brilliant to me over the years, supporting me, and I thank them so much for that. Tommy has one. Liam Tufts has one. All the right people have got a Thorpe watch, mate.
Tommy's got the same colour as me, though, Paul.
He's got black, yeah. But here's the deal, guys. Don't be asking for any, because you can't buy them. Money cannot buy these watches. There you go.
I'm going to put mine on eBay tonight for 25 grand if anyone wants to buy it.
Now, what, you wait and watch someone dig me out for this now, right? But I just wanted to show you a watch because, you know, we're all watch guys, Danny, me and you, and that's how we came together.
Yeah.
I was looking at my watch today and thinking, you know what? I'm really, really pleased that I did that. I'm really pleased I did it.
Great watches as well, Paul. I was wearing it all last week, my Thorpe watch.
Good. And it's a watch now that money can't buy. And when I see someone wearing one, I know how much they've supported me, and that means a lot. I'm just actually going to slip this on. I've been wearing it on the rubber lately.
I've never worn mine with a rubber strap. I like the Velcro.
Yeah, I do like the Union Jack on the Velcro. It's nice. But there you go.
That's great.
That is a little achievement. I always wanted to do that when I was in the watch business. I always wanted to design and produce my own watch, and I managed to do it. Not many people can say that, but I did it. I'm really pleased that I did, and thanks to all those that supported it. And yeah, be proud of it. Have I read the book, Paul? That was really scary. I haven't read the book. No. Right, I'm never ever going to get to the end of these messages. Let me see if I've missed any supers. Frank 47 just wanted to say good evening. Hi, Frank. Hope you are well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Frank.
Phil, really appreciate that. Cheers, mate. Right, that's it for this evening, guys. We have actually we have over 3,000 messages. No wonder I can't read them all out. Right, thank you so much for watching us. I really enjoyed that tonight, guys. Let us know what you thought. Danny, we'll do it on yours next time, maybe.
Yeah, do it on mine, and then I'll come on yours and whatever. But yeah, that's cool, mate. It's good. So any of my followers, which I've probably only got from Paul anyway, got to go over and support Paul's channel. And any of Paul's ones, come over and give Danny in Spain a...
And I think, by the way, Danny, we're gonna get Richard back on next week. I've told him that you don't want to talk politics. He understands that. Yeah. I can do me politics thing with Richard. Yeah. Oh, by the way, if anyone didn't see my post earlier on, if you go to my community page, you know, my daughter, I'm so proud of my daughter and her partner for what they've done with that dog. They bought in a dog that had been so badly treated. There's a picture, the latest picture of the dog at my daughter's house just this morning. If anyone wants to know how he's getting on, go over to the community page and you'll be able to see how he's getting on. Right, that's it for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Danny, been a real pleasure. Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thanks for coming on, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care, everyone. Have a great week. See you later, guys.
Cheers, guys.